This Racing Life with Basti Equiworld, the leading supplier of horse feeds and supplements.
Hello everyone and welcome to the latest edition of This Racing Life. A new series is upon us and we loved our time up here in York for the Sky Bet Ebor Festival that we decided to stick on for a few more days. When you don't have a blank cheque to spend at the sales, sometimes you have to think outside the box, and Ruth Carr has done exactly that with turning her horses out and loose exercising them in unique ways. Does it work? Well, 45 winners and counting this season certainly bear testament for that, and she is on course for her best ever season.
These are our loose exercise pens. So what we do on a morning is work from sort of two lists, a riding list and a lunging list. And the loose exercise girls that are working on the ground, they're just as important as the riders. And we can do two at once loose in this pen. And this is something I kind of developed when I was in the later years working for Grandad, and there was a lot of work to get through and not too many staff, and I thought I can do two at once. It started off fairly rudimental, and then it's tidied itself up, and we've made it better as time goes on. But it is something that's pretty unique to here, I would say, our loose exercise two at once. Hopefully they're working and enjoying themselves, not really realising that they are working. They can drop down, have a roll, whip round, have a buck and a kick. In a lot of places, if they were whipping round and bucking and kicking, they'd be misbehaving. So they get a chance to do that. And hopefully get a good bit of graft into them without them really realising. We're so lucky this is not a surface, this is just our natural sandy land that we've got. It's quite deep, it does make them work hard.
And does it take much maintenance?
The main problem is it freezing when we get a lot of frost, and we would be working it to try and keep it loose. But because it works so well the rest of the year, we're not keen to try and put some expensive surface on it. Here we've got two sprinters. The first one is Digital.
Oh yeah.
He did good last year. This year's been a bit more tricky, unfortunately. He threw a splint as an older horse, so he's just coming back to full fitness. He's in fast work now. He'll have to run on the all-weather a bit this winter. This one is South Shore. He really needs loads of cover, producing late, heart in your mouth stuff really. Sometimes it doesn't come off. But he does need cover. He didn't get cover last time at Hamilton. It's nearly a waste of time. So it's quite hard. It's quite hard to quantify how much work they're going to do in here, because obviously one on the outside is going to do way more than the one on the inside.
Yeah. Do you find they egg each other on?
Yes. Yeah. So you probably want to put your more lazy one on the inside, because he's only going to do enough. I always tell people when they come and they see this, if anybody fancies having running around there for a couple of circuits and seeing how hard it is, they're quite welcome.
You'd have a good blow.
Yeah, you can have a good blow. Yeah. Sometimes an odd time we ride them round these, and even riding, I think it's just harder on the turn. I think when you're going to test something for its wind, you do it generally on the turn and in the lunge pit, because it makes them work harder quicker. So.
Yeah, and that's where you identify the problems, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was there a fair bit of suck it and see in terms of methodology of this clearly isn't working, let's try this?
Yes, yeah. And every horse is different. What works for one horse doesn't work for another. But Grandad did a lot of loose exercise. We probably ride out more than what Grandad did. I think we still have a reputation for not riding our horses at home. Mostly they would ride a day, loose exercise a day, and just alternate it. If we have youngsters, obviously they have to get ridden every day, because you can't teach them how to be ridden loose around a lunge pit. But that's why here lends itself so well to buying horses out of the bigger yards and maybe just a bit fed up with
Just being a number.
Just being a number, yeah, and give them something to look forward to. Doing their exercise, and once the horses are exercised, the idea is everything is out in the field for the rest of the day until middle of the afternoon. Our ridden lots don't take long. We don't need to have them out for an hour and a half, because once they're ridden, they are going to go out in the field for the rest of the day. So,
do you find it particularly works for a certain type of horse, say a sprinter, given that you were expecting a ball of muscle and there needs to be muscle across the board?
Yeah.
It looks like it's kind of really working everything.
Yeah, we've got a few more stayers this time, and I don't think it doesn't work for staying types as well.
Sure.
Yeah. You just adjust it accordingly. You do a longer piece of work on the lunge, just like a big yard would train the 2-year-olds and the Derby horses differently. So lots of people have rung me up, other trainers, and say, you loose exercise, Ruth, you're lunging, how do you do it? How long do you do it? Do you do it for 15 minutes? To half an hour? So, would you canter a horse for half an hour? No, probably not. You can see how hard he's blowing already, and he's very happy to go right round the outside. He's not shirking at all.
No.
He's not clinging to the inside rail. He's quite happy to go around the outside. But it's hard to quantify. You could say to the girls, do 10 each way or whatever, but it depends how fast they're going. And once we get them up to fitness, we're really just ticking them over and running them plenty anyway, and keeping them happy and wanting to go to the races. And I think our horses, because they get turned out every day, also a little bit more relaxed. You're not having to lead them around with bridles and chiffonies on. Apart from some of the ones that are really keen to go out there, want to bolt to the field. But I think, fingers crossed, we don't have too much of the Monday morning stuff where people are falling off, and you've got loose horses because they go out every day. They go out on a Sunday, so they're not got all that pent up energy because they've not been out of a stable for ages.
And do other trainers come and try and have a peek at this?
I certainly get quizzed about it plenty. Yeah. And other people will be doing similar stuff. Lots of different ways to get the same result, which is what we all want in the end, isn't it? Winners, and for your facilities, you train to your facilities or what horses you have, and just because I do it this way doesn't mean it's the right way or the wrong way, but it's obviously the right way for us.
Is it roughly the same as when you started in 2008?
Roughly, yeah.
Comparable,
yeah. But we've tweaked stuff, and we've upgraded facilities, and hopefully made it easier for the team. We've upgraded the gallop and all that sort of thing. But fundamentally, it's doing things differently, and the turnout that's a big part of it. Come on, boys, don't be shy. Somebody will come, and then they'll all come. I think the horses feel a bit like me. They're starting to feel a bit like end of season-ish, You're
on the beach.
Yeah. So that is King Sharjah, that's South Shore, that's New York State of Mind. That's Retraction, that we saw lunge. That's Digital that we saw lunge. The Chestnut is Street Lightning. He's had a holiday, he'll run on the all-weather. That chap over there, he's Habrady. He's been disappointing. We're giving him a rest, and he's going to come back for the all-weather. That dark-coloured horse, what you lot up to, is Star Start that fell at Ripon. You can see he's all right. One with the white legs over there, that's Barley Brown. He won a load last year. It's been more difficult for him this year. He's up the handicap, etc. Can you stop covering us in dust?
Well, as stable visits go, I'd say this is a little different.
That's Cat's Bob over there, the chestnut with the white back legs.
Yeah.
He's held his form ridiculously well. He was not beaten far at Ripon yesterday. I keep thinking he'll be desperate for a holiday sometime. He keeps running well. That one's Dumfries. He's won 3 this year. He has been tricky. Last year I was tearing my hair out with him, but sometimes it takes a long time and before everything clicks and then it comes right. That's Woodstock. He was second at Ripon yesterday. He won 3 last year, and again it's been a bit of a struggle this year, just because of the nature of the handicapping game. If you win 3 or 4 one year, the next year's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Which might mean next year's going to be hard for us.
What do you find are the positives for you? Why do they outweigh the cons?
Yes, yeah. Mentally, they've got something to look forward to every day,
okay.
which is, we found out in COVID what it was like, didn't we? Not being able to go out and such like. Well, I kind of think that these horses have got something to look forward to. They're getting to be like horses as close as within. They have to be trained to be racehorses, but what would horses be doing in the wild in a pack? They'd be having a pecking order. They'd be grazing 24 hours a day or 22 hours a day or whatever when they would be in the wild, which is good for their digestive system. So it's good physically as well as mentally. But it's them having their heads down in that natural grazing position. It is good for them. If they have got any bits and pieces going on, respiratory in that position, it's naturally going to drain. So that's another positive as well that we take. And anything that's a bit shy or a bit nervous when they come, you gradually introduce them into a bigger gang, and you definitely see the personalities blossom. Yeah. Definitely, they can come and they can be very in their shell, maybe even depressed. You could even say that, and 6 months later you've got this horse that's bouncing around and playing with his mates, dragging a stick out the back of the hedge and all that sort of thing, and it's great to see.
All season, improving sprint handicappers have been lining up for a crack at the top rungs of a wide open sprint division. Take JM Jungle, who took the rise up to Group Company in his stride, much to the delight of his co-trainer John Quinn, and they might not be done just yet.
But last year his form elevated as well.
Yeah.
The first time we thought he probably was a really decent one when he won the 3-year-old handicap at Goodwood. Yeah. That was a good performance. But last year he was a bit unlucky at the May meeting at York, and then he got his bit of luck at the Ebor meeting, and he ran particularly well in the Portland, and I thought, And then he had a good break and he came back looking really well. 3 years ago we bought him at Doncaster, and Sean and the lads had gone and do the list, because what I do, I like to be here, then I go to the sales and they have the list for me, and when I saw him I said to Sean, we'll buy him if we can.
46,000?
46,000. It's a good price, he's by Bungle in the Jungle, who's a very good sire and is capable of getting a good one, but it was a good price for him because he was related to a couple of winners, but the mare had gone to staying horses. Mm-hmm. But as I said, this was the first time she got speed, and after being second to American Fair twice, he then went and won well at the Derby meeting, then went back and ran well in the listed race. He likes Goodwood, and having won there as a 3-year-old, we thought he'd run well at Goodwood, but we were delighted when he won. And the other day in the Nunthorpe, he was just drawn out of it, and he still ran a big race between the 2 and the 1. I thought he was coming to win, but everything was happening inside him. Mm-hmm. So we're very pleased with him. He's not going to Ireland for the Flying 5, so we're just going to freshen him up a little bit and run him in the Abbey.
I think we all associate, especially experienced sprinters, as maybe still having that slight edge to them. Yeah. He seems very relaxed.
Now when he'll start back on the gallops on Thursday. He'll canter in there. We've an all-weather surface in there tomorrow morning. But when he goes back cantering out on Thursday morning, you would want to have your Weetabix, because he's not a runaway, but he's strong. Mm-hmm.
And it's that strength early in his races that just allows him to bowl along.
Well, it's just like a car. He can get from 0 to 50 quick.
Yeah.
And then he's been ultra consistent this year. He hasn't been out of the money because he got money on Saturday. Mm-hmm. He's been a wonderful horse to have. We're actually going to have Sean has had a look at his sister at the down at Doncaster, and she'll be one of the first ones I look at tomorrow morning when I get there.
And you need horses like this.
You need them.
need presence at big meetings.
You need if you're lucky enough, you need a Highfield Princess, and you need a Mr. Wagyu, and you need a Liberty Beach, and you need it's great this fella's come along, but like with the sale season, we're looking for the next one and the next one, because that's what you've got to do. Called Cape Ashazuri. He won first time at Ayr.
Yes.
He's by St. Mark's Basilica. He's a half brother to the Wow Signal, who was the best 2-year-old we've ever trained. He won very well, and the maiden has turned out, everything behind him has won. It's just ended up a phenomenal maiden. Then we were going to run him in a listed race at Ascot. We sent him down, and he spiked the temperature, hence he couldn't run. But we're pleased with his work, and we're aiming him for Doncaster. He's in the Champagne, and he's also in, there's a listed race, so we'll put him in that as well.
Yep.
It's a family we know well. Briege was out of a sister of his. So he's a nice colt, so we're pleased with him. With a good pedigree, and St. Mark's Basilica, I believe, had only won his maiden this time as a 2-year-old, so it's encouraging that he's already had a stakes winner and winners, and I'm sure there's plenty more to come.
Trainers who have enjoyed top-level successes are 10 a penny here in Malton across the both codes, one of whom is Ruth Jefferson. Things haven't been plain sailing year on year since she took over from her late father Malcolm, but the highs have outweighed the lows for a trainer who is patience personified.
I think it just depends on your owner, doesn't it? My owners aren't buying a horse that they're in a rush for. They'd rather have 4 or 5 seasons out of one than 2 or 3 and then get a new one. Yeah. So it means that everyone's quite happy to just chill back a little bit and take each race as it comes. And I think now they're realising that, I don't want to waste their money on a run that's not going to run well. They don't want their money wasted on a run where you don't think it's going to run well. So more and more they just leave you to it, and you rock up on the day and you go, this is, if everything goes right, this will be a good day. Doesn't stop you from trying things.
Yep.
Sometimes you have a horse and you think, right, the ground's softer than it's ever ran on, but we'll see. But if you don't try, you don't know. But you can only try something 2 or 3 times, and if it's not working, you really just need to stop doing that.
We often hear from trainers about utilising patience and stuff like that, but I suppose I've never heard it. How difficult can it be at times, potentially if you've got a horse in good form at home and you want to run and there's just, for some reason or another, ground-wise, race-wise, there's not the option. How difficult at times is it to sit on your hands?
Yeah, it can be quite hard. I think it's easier if there isn't a race, because you just go, there is no race. Yeah. It's amazing how many people, inadvertently, obviously, they'll ring you up and moan it's not raining, and you're like, well, it's kind of a little bit outside of my control. not the weather gods.
No.
But I think you just have to kind of say, look, it'll come, and when it comes, we'll be ready. And sometimes you just have to wait. Sometimes it just isn't a race. Sometimes your horse is bouncing and you're just like, oh well, just chill out a little bit, knock it back a step, and then pick it up again when you see that race in the programme book.
And over the time you've had the licence, obviously had some superb horses in that time, waiting patiently, Sounds, Rush, and I suppose it must give you a lot of satisfaction that despite not having enormous numbers, you've had some really good horses through your hands.
Yeah, we've been quite lucky when you think. I mean, we started waiting patiently, and he won his Grade 1.
What was that day like?
It was a bit mixed, really. It was funny because he won the Colin Parker when Dad was still training, and then that would be November, wouldn't it? Yeah. But you could see it was his illness was overcoming him, really. And then he got a lung infection, the horse, not Dad. And it kept knocking him back, so we kept missing options. And he'd just come right, and Dad was desperate to run him at Cheltenham, New Year's Day in the handicap. And I was like, oh. So I just said to Richard, I said, I think we'll give that a miss, because I said, if we might win it, but that might just be the end of him for the season, And I remember that Dad wasn't talking to me New Year's Day. He thought he'd win that. He was not happy. But we went to Kempton, and he won what's now the Silviano Conti. It was a listed race at the time, 32 red. It's a Grade 2 now, and he won that. And he won that, and then he went on and won his Grade 1. But would he have won his Grade 1 if he'd gone top weight, giving £4 or £5 away bottomless ground New Year's Day? You just don't know, do you? I didn't think he would. I thought it would just come too soon. So I was back in the good books later on in January, and I think we won that, and we won the Pertemps qualifier, and they were Dad's last 2 winners because the licence was still in his name. So I was in the good books that day.
And with having that type of horse there as the flagship horse, does that give you a benchmark of what you can almost, with new stock of what they're aspiring to be? Sounds Russian has also got to running in a Cheltenham Gold Cup. You've got plenty of good horses that you can base them off.
I don't think, when you look back, Dad was the same. He only ever had about 44, 48 horses. But, I used to do Dato Stars roadwork, King's Measure. Tullamore Toff ran in a Gold Cup. There was always Going Formal won the Newbury 3-mile race. There was always good horses about, even, before we got to the ones that most people would think of now, the Cyrus Darius's, Cloudy Dreams and things. He always seemed to have a nice horse. So I think what's interesting is, I had a lad come to work for me last year, and he rides pointers and everything. But I let him ride, sounds Russian, he rode Kerry Hill, and he couldn't believe it. He didn't realise, you don't realise how lucky I have been to always have the option of sitting on a good horse.
Yeah, definitely.
And you get someone who's never been in a yard that's had that, and they get on a good horse and they're just like, wow. And they are just a little bit different, and that. It's just the way they go about things, isn't it? Good horses. Not many of them hide it.
How quickly can you ascertain when you've got something a bit smarter?
You normally know probably within about a year. Depending on what you know. Like Waiting Patient, he came to us, he'd already ran. Sounds Russian I bought as a star. But I think we knew by the end of his first season here, we thought, well, this is going to be a little bit more than just a nice 3-mile chaser type thing. He just if he walked out the yard and up the gallop, everyone would have to look at him because he'd demand your attention. And sometimes Dato Star did that. Wherever he went, if he saw people, he'd demand their attention. He'd just draw their eye.
And you've got around 30 horses in, or you will have 30 horses in
when they're all here.
When they're all in. Is that a number you're very happy with maintaining? Is it a situation of wanting potentially a little more, or how would you look at it?
We came back after the summer, and out of nowhere we had a few phone calls, and we had about 20 last year, and we had my head girl Tina's been here 25 years, but then Joe was new, Liv was new, Lydia was new, so it took a little while to get the staff right, and then all of a sudden we were just going to suddenly increase in horses again, and Joe and I were slightly panicky about how many horses we might have to ride, but then we had someone approach us for a job who's very good. We found someone who's going to help us later in the season when we start racing and everything, so we're nicely covered now that we feel we can do the job well. It's one thing to have horses, but if you don't have the team behind you, you're not going to get the results, are you? It has to be done well to get the results. So we're in the right place at the moment. Look, we've still got room for more. We'd like to increase that again, rather than it's sort of level. But at this moment in time, very happy.
It's not only a tough game, horse racing, it can be a cruel one at times, and in 2017 Declan Carroll was dealt a tragic blow when Santry, the pre-race favourite for the Gimcrack, lost his life on the gallops. Well, 8 years later, the redemption arc was complete, with Lifeplan famously getting one back for the north at the Sky Bet Ebor Festival under regular rider Zach Wheaton.
I've been in horse racing since I'm 14. I'm obviously from Ireland, Dublin. I went to the Curragh apprentice school down there, and I saved my apprenticeship with Dermot Weld and Liam Brown. I had some good times in the Curragh, and then I trained there as well. Started training on the Curragh for a couple of years, and then at one stage I was assistant trainer to John Jenkins down in Royston.
What did you learn in your travels of the different trainers? You've mentioned some names, they're all very interesting men in their own right. What did they give you, each piece that you were able to implement it when you had your name above this barn door?
Yeah, obviously when I was an apprentice in Dermot Wells, he was champion trainer at the time, and super trainer. We think we won the Oaks that year. I was there with Blue Wind, and we had some very, very good horses committed. Won a Prix de l'Abbé and some good horses. And then when I was in Liam Brown's, we had the 2,000 guineas winner Dara Monarch and some other champion 2-year-old Persian King Persian. So yeah, there was some nice horses and good trainers. Both very, very successful trainers. Trained slightly different. Both trainers did, but got results. And I suppose you learn little pieces as you go along.
And I guess it gives you some people are blessed with an eye for a good horse, but when they're there staring you in the face day after day, you not only get an eye for them, but you must get a taste for them as well.
Oh yeah, everybody wants good horses. Anyone that trains racehorses wants to have a good horse if it's a flat horse or a national hunt horse. Listen, we go to the sales and we buy these horses. You obviously buy a pedigree you like, but I mean, at the end of the day, nobody really knows, do they? You know, this hasn't been a saddle on the back if you bind them as yearlings. Okay, some people breeze up horses are different, but as young horses, so you're buying, you know, a blank piece of paper really, and you're trying to get your hands on good horses. But the most important thing I think when you go, they need to be trainable. If you can't train them, it's no good.
165,000 euros for Lifeplan at Goff Sorby, book one. When you first saw him, what really stood out to you?
He was a lovely horse, great walker, really good walker. Looked very trainable, good hardy looking horse. And he had a decent pedigree. And I liked him, yeah.
And he was going to go for a six-figure sum. That much, I'm guessing, at that point was obvious. How confident were you were going to be able to get him? I
was fairly confident I could buy him. As Mr. Tedham, who owns him, he said if you see a horse you like, you know, you can buy him. So I knew that I could afford to buy him if he was the right one. Obviously, I had to value him as well.
So you've seen him in the sales ring. Now he gets back to Santry Stables. It seems like everything went pretty smoothly from there on in. Was he easy to deal with?
Oh yeah, 100%. He was easy to break. We broke him here ourselves, rode him away, and as soon as we got him cantering away, you could see he was a nice horse. Very willing, very forward going, no trouble whatsoever really.
For a 2-year-old with his pedigree, you are generally, I'm guessing at the beginning of the season, wondering, is he going to be an Ascot 2-year-old? Or are we going to take our time and look for targets a little bit further down the line? Was he ever an Ascot 2-year-old for you?
He was ready to run for quite a while before we ran him at Tursk. I was waiting to try and get a bit of juice in the ground, and he could have been an Ascot horse, I suppose, if we really wanted to, but just a week before Tursk we had quite a lot of rain up here, and it wasn't far from here, and I had a couple of spins over and I thought the ground was safe enough for him, and we let him take part, and he won nicely.
And I'm guessing quiet confidence ahead of his next assignment in the Gimcrack.
Yeah, listen, it was a big ask for the horse and jockey, to go jump from a novice straight into a Group 2, but I thought he could do it. I mean, he's a good streetwise horse. He's quite hardy. He's never been any trouble. It wasn't a big field either, and yeah, he didn't let us down.
We definitely knew we had a good chance going into the race because we did like him a lot, and he improved coming out of Thirsk. You could tell at home he was a lot more on the button, even more. Like he was on the button going into Thirsk, but definitely going into that race. We definitely knew we had a chance anyway, so we were happy to go there.
Take me through the run.
He's very simple. He cantered down. He was a little bit keen going down, but that's sort of his way in nature. Like he likes to get on with it. But in the race, he's very straightforward. He jumped smart. I just took a little bit of a lead off Kevin, and he travelled well. And then he done the business late on anyway. He picked up that last gear and really took on at the end. And no, he was brilliant, really.
So what next? Group 1s now.
Yeah.
You could run him in a Group 2, but why would you? He'd have a penalty.
Yeah, he could go for the Mill Reef, but he'd have a penalty. He's in the Middle Park. We could supplement him for the Jew horse. We haven't really chatted about that yet, but that's all to come in the next couple of weeks. But he's a nice horse going forward.
Well, sadly, that's it for another edition of This Racing Life. I've made a new friend, and I've hopefully made a few new friends along the way as well. We've loved our time up here in Yorkshire. And many thanks to you for watching, and we'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.
This Racing Life with Basti Equiworld. leading supplier of horse feeds and supplements.